Hi, fifth grade. So we are working on lesson 81 of math. You need your math book, you need the printout from Jupiter Grades, or you need to have looked at it. And we're getting started on page 425. We're going to talk about reducing fractions today. So we remember from lesson 79 that you can make an equivalent fraction by multiplying the numerator and denominator by the same number. When we have the numerator and denominator are the same number, we call that a fraction named for 1. So we want to learn some new vocabulary today. And one of the vocabulary words we're learning is terms. When we talk about the terms of a fraction, we're talking about the numerator and denominator. That's what that means. So when we make an equivalent fraction, we make the terms bigger by multiplying. When we reduce a fraction, we make the terms smaller by dividing. We reduce fractions by dividing both the numerator and denominator by the same number, by a fraction named for 1. So you should, looking at page 425, you can see one of the examples they give is 3/6. If we want to reduce 3/6, we can divide both 3 and 6 by 3, and that gives us 1/2. Not all fractions can be reduced. In order to be able to reduce a fraction, both terms, the numerator and the denominator, need to be divisible by the same number. So the example 2, you have 4 fractions, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, and 5/6. And it's asking which fraction can't be reduced. The answer, of course, is D, 5/6, because 5 and 6 can't be divided by the same number. The only number you can divide both 5 and 6 by is 1, and dividing by 1 isn't going to change the fraction in any way. So let's look at the practice. If we are looking at our practice set on page 427, A says reduce 8/12 by dividing 8 and 12 by 4. So see here, I've written 8/12, and then I'm going to divide it by 4/4. It's going to be a fraction named for 1 using 4 as both terms. So 8 divided by 4 is going to give me 2, and 12 divided by 4 is going to give me 3. So my new fraction, my reduced fraction, is 2/3. Fair enough? B is asking which of these fractions cannot be reduced. Okay, so we have 2/8, 3/8, and 4/8. Okay? Both 2 and 8 can be divided by 2, so this fraction can be reduced. Both 4 and 8 can be divided by both 2 and 4, so this fraction can be reduced. 3/8, 3 and 8 can't be divided by the same number other than 1, so this fraction can't be reduced. 3/8 is the lowest terms that this fraction can be made into. Okay. Looking at page 428, add, subtract, or multiply as indicated. Remember to reduce your answers. All right. So we have C, 2/3 times 1/2. Right? So 2 times 1 is going to give me 2. 3 times 2, you can't see it, 3 times 2 is going to give me 6. So I get 2/6 initially. I want to reduce this if possible. 2 and 6 can both be divided by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And I get 1/3. Right. For D, I have 3/10 plus 3/10. All right. I'm going to add my numerators. 3 plus 3 is going to be 6. 10 is going to stay the same because I'm adding my fractions, so I don't change the denominators. So initially, I get 6/10. 6/10, 6 and 10 can both be divided by 2. 6 divided by 2 is going to be 3. 10 divided by 2 is going to be 5. And my new fraction, my reduced fraction, is 3/5. Fair enough? For E, I have 3/8 minus 1/8. Right? I'm going to subtract my numerators. 3 minus 1 is going to be 2. I'm going to leave my denominators exactly the same. And I get 2/8. I can reduce this because 2 and 8 can both be divided by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 8 divided by 2 is 4. And I get the fraction 1/4. Right. Starting with F, we're asked to rewrite each mixed number with a reduced fraction. Okay. So I have the mixed number 1 and 3/9. Okay, my whole number stays the same. I'm not doing anything to that. Not when I reduce fractions. 3/9 can be reduced. 3 and 9 can both be divided by 3. 3 divided by 3 is going to be 1. 9 divided by 3 is going to be 3. And I get 1 and 1/3. Right. I have 2 and 6/9. My 2 stays the same. I don't do anything to that. 6/9, 6 and 9 can both be divided by 3. So 6 divided by 3 is going to be 2. 9 divided by 3 is going to be 3. I end up with the mixed number 2 and 2/3. And now I have 2 and 5/10. My 2 stays the same. Nothing happens there. 5/10, both 5 and 10 can be reduced by 5. They're both divisible by 5. 5 divided by 5 is going to be 1. 10 divided by 5 is going to be 2. I get 2 and 1/2. And then looking at I through K, we need to find each sum or difference and reduce each answer. Okay? Sum is adding, difference is subtracting. We all know that. So for I have 1 and 1/4 plus 2 and 1/4. I'm going to add my whole numbers first. 1 plus 2 is going to give me 3. And then I'm going to add my fractions. 1/4 plus 1/4 is 2/4. So my initial answer is 3 and 2/4. But I want to reduce my fraction to the lowest terms possible. 2 and 4 are both divisible by 2. So I'm going to get 3 and 1/2. These answers are the same. Whoop, I went the wrong way. 3 and 2/4 and 3 and 1/2 are the same values. The terms are different, but the fractions are equivalent. So for J, I have 1 and 1/8 plus 5 and 5/8. I add my whole numbers. 1 plus 5 is going to be 6. And then I add my fractions. 1/8 plus 5/8 is going to be 6/8. So I have the mixed number 6 and 6/8. I want to reduce my fraction. 6 and 8 are both divisible by 2. So my whole number stays the same. It stays 6. 6 divided by 2 is going to be 3. 8 divided by 2 is going to be 4. So I have the mixed number 6 and 3/4. And then my last practice problem, I have 5 and 5/12 minus 1 and 1/12. So 5 minus 1 is going to be 4. 5 twelfths minus 1 twelfth is going to be 4 twelfths. So that's my initial answer, is 4 and 4 twelfths. I want to reduce my fraction if possible. 4 and 12 are both divisible by 4. So 4 divided by 4 is going to be 1. 12 divided by 4 is going to be 3. And I get 4 and 1/3. Okay, so that's the practice set for lesson 81. I hope this was helpful. I will see you guys tomorrow.